Welcome back, everybody, to Natural Healing at the Source. We are with Coach Q again. This is our third video. We're in week 6 of him healing his Achilles tendon rupture, which was 3 centimeters of a rupture, completely torn, and we're doing it naturally. And so we're here to provide an update. And first, I want to check in with Q. How's it been for you these last 2 weeks?
It's been good, man. We're just, holding on to the faith, sticking to protocol. We wrote up a game plan 5 weeks ago, and I've been sticking to that game plan almost to the T. Since then, I just feel like I'm getting stronger. I can feel things healing. I can move my foot a little bit better. I can flex my calf more. But I'm also just in the stage of just being patient, like not even trying to rush this thing. Not really looking for the healing, just trusting that it's happening, right? So that's what I've been at.
And for other people out there that are going through a similar journey, because I know you've been hearing about a bunch of different Achilles tendons be popping, and what would be some words of wisdom for them, as they're going through this time, because you get through that initial part where there's a lot of pain, a lot of inflammation, a lot of swelling, and then you're probably starting to see some pretty quick improvements, weeks 3 through 4, and now we're kind of like in a patient period. And so, what's come up for you, and what would be some advice to the people out there going through that?
At the very beginning, you're going to be just like flooded with emotion, I would say, like, and just kind of feeling lost. The mental aspect is sometimes tougher than like the physical. You just got to accept that you're in a long season. Like, this is going to be a season of your life that you're just going to have to buckle down. And there's really no way to rush it, no matter what you see on TV or Aaron Rodgers and these people. Like, your journey is going to be your journey, and that's it. So, but for you, just protocol is just sticking to Achilles healing protocols. Those first couple of weeks, getting the pain to subside, keeping your foot in a boot or like your toes straight down. And then after that, it's just going to be depending on what your body's telling you to do, or the people around you telling you to do. But really just understanding that you are now in a season. That was like my thought process. You're in it, bro, and you're not getting out of it.
It's a long season, so sometimes it gets tough, but it's patience, so there's a reason, right? There's always a reason that we go through certain things in life. And so you can either say, oh man, what a horrible experience, and now a victim, right? Or it's like, what a great opportunity for me to focus on this layer of my health, or this layer of my life. I've been so freaking busy, I haven't had time to slow down. And so, well, you just got to slow down. I haven't been able to receive support. Well, you're going to need to receive support now. I haven't been good at asking for help. You're probably going to need to ask for help, right? So there's lessons here. And so slow down and get the lessons. Let's go ahead and do some work with Coach Hughes. So go face down for me, brother. So, quite a few things have been coming up. And so I was doing, a check-in with him prior to getting him adjusted. And he's been being really patient, keeping his foot in quite a bit of plantar flexion, which is the toes going away from the nose, and hasn't really been doing much simulation of walking or squatting. And one of the ways that we can do that is to get in a pool, right? If you get in a pool and you let your whatever, say it's your left Achilles that's injured, you let it lead, which is that plantar flexion, and then you bring the right foot up. So you let it lead, and then you bring the foot up. Lead and bring the foot up. Eventually you'll get to like the heel or the midfoot, and then you lead into the midfoot, and then eventually you get to both foot being balanced. And so the importance of this is we don't just want to always have our foot like this, because then we're telling the body, I had an injury, right? And my next level of function after this injury is going to be this. I'm just going to do this all the time. Right? And so it's going to be hard to break that neural pattern of, oh, this person just wants to do this. We have to move into starting to simulate by taking gravity out. So one of the ways is getting in the water. And there's other ways that you can do it, or being in a boot, but starting to simulate the activities that you want to be returning to. So part of Q's healing plan is we put on, what's he going to be able to do in 3 months? What's he going to be able to do in 6 months? What's he going to be able to do in a year? Or I think it's actually 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, and a year. And so I'm going to encourage you to revisit that, because you're halfway now almost, right? Halfway to that first check mark of 3 months. And I believe body weight squat was on there. Yeah. And so we wanna recheck that and make sure that we're gonna be hitting those goals. It's a good opportunity, you know, to help the body heal through our intention, our attention and intention. All right, so let's go check out the Achilles. Okay, so I want to put you in slight dorsiflexion.
Well, I've been going far and long enough to see it get totally ruined. The developers have just chewed up every inch of the mark.
Like, I'm not tripping. There's something there, isn't it?
Yep. So what I feel is, okay, so we have a hard endpoint here, and this is probably where we had, you know, the proximal, you got a proximal end of the Achilles rupture. And then we also have a hard end here. So, I mean, that's the gap. But the thing is, if you go ahead and we start to put the foot into plantar flexion, the tendon is going to pop back at us, right? And to me, as it pops back at us, I am feeling a connection. Now, it's not the same as where the rupture was at. And actually, it kind of feels like it's hardened. And so what I want to do now is start to work those pieces, because, and I think we talked about it last time, it feels like you had a cut and then it started to, so they cut this off and then it started to scab here, and you know how hard that gets. So I actually want to soften that tissue so we can continue that reconnection. And now we're going to do that through some specific scraping. Okay. So we're going to utilize our stone tool. And before, you know, I've also been doing work on the calf, doing a little bit more fascial work. But for this, we want to go right to where the rupture is. And I'm just going to do a slow scrape of that tendon. And I'm trying to feel exactly where we start to get some hardening of the tissue. And we're gonna move it towards the other end of the break, if you will. So still doing approximation, but what you can see is I'm gathering, right? I'm gathering the dysfunctional tissue and I'm moving it towards the other side. How you doing, Q? Yeah, you feel that, huh?
Lovely.
Oh, lovely. So again, I'm going to keep the foot in the plantar flexion, which is the direction we want to help protect the Achilles, which is toes going away from nose. And we're just doing some gentle, well, not so gentle, but some scraping of where there's the tear going towards where the other end of the tear was. And again, we're 6 weeks into this, right? And so it took me at least almost a month before I was going near the actual tear site. But even right here, so this is pretty far above, there's some tissue here that, again, it's just getting hardened because there's not much pump and not much flow happening with the tissue because the muscles aren't firing like they usually are, right? So our whole lymph system, we use our muscles and muscle contractions to move lymph. And so when we're not getting those muscle contractions, the lymph gets stagnant, but not just the lymph, other tissues get stagnant. Fluids, the interstitial fluids get stagnant. So that's why, you know, for Q, I think at this point in the game, we want to start some movement. You know, it doesn't have to put strain on the tendon, but we need to get more movement and power out of this leg. So we're doing a little bit more on the scraping side than I've done with him yet. So he's being brave and actually quiet for how much this probably fucking hurts. All right. So that feels good. So let's check it again. I'm gonna put his leg into a slight dorsiflexion. So non-weight bearing, a little dorsiflexion, we should be okay, right? I'm not going past a neutral. But even this, right? This is actually good checks and tests for him. Is we can start working that plantar flexion passively, not putting him past neutral, But that's putting a little bit of a strain on that tissue, saying, hey, we're going to be doing this again, right? So we have to prep the tissue, prep the nervous system, really prep it all to be like, hey, we're going to be standing upright again. We're going to be running. We're going to be jumping. We're going to be squatting. We're going to be doing all these motions again. So we don't want to stay immobile for too long, or those tissues get too hard and it's really hard to come back. Okay, so we're at a good point now where we can start simulating some of those motions. All right. Yeah, so if this has been helpful to y'all, as you know, a lot of this is education, right? If it's been helpful to y'all, to getting to see, oh shoot, I didn't know, tendons could come back. I'm gonna grab another little fuzzy over here. From being ruptured without surgery, they can, right? And sometimes it's dependent on, how severe it is. Sometimes the tendon can roll up. And so if you have a very significant gap, okay, this is where you might want to start exploring a variety of options. But I've seen under 4 centimeters be able to heal naturally. And I'm not to say that it couldn't be done at more. Again, I don't know what would need to be done at that point to help that, but it's possible. Okay, on your back. How we feeling, Q?
Good, man.
What'd you feel with that scrape?
Scrape my soul, dude. Jesus. No, like, so the scraping gives you like a completely different feel of your leg, right?
Yeah.
Like, I guess how I would say it is, before scraping, the pressure that I would feel, you would probably blame that on the tendon.
Yeah.
But then you like scrape it away, and then you have like a completely different feel, right? So.
Yep.
If that makes sense.
It makes sense, dude. Yeah, a lot of times what we're feeling is due to the lack of movement or the adhesions that are even beyond and above where the tear site is. I noticed this. When I hurt mine and injured mine, I was going to Phoenix to see Dr. Sean Drake, and he was doing a variety of things. And one of them was shockwave. I believe it's shockwave therapy, which is like percussive sound that can go in and break stuff up. I was like super painful, back of the calf into my hamstring. But following that, my mobility in my foot changed automatically. And I realized, part of that pressure, part of that pain that I was feeling really is not even about the Achilles, it's about all the other fluids because they're not moving well. And all the other tissues because they're not moving well. So we're still always gonna be adjusting the spine. Why? Because a well-regulated nervous system helps heal way better. And he's still been running on the pulse electromagnetic field and biocharger. Again, we can get natural PMF from the earth, right? So you don't have to have an expensive machine just to go put your feet on the earth barefoot, right? And that will help you heal wounds and injuries. All right, we're good for today. Boom. Any last words for the people? Coach Q.
Heal your body, man.
There it is.
Heal it.
Just heal it. Just heal it. Thank you for checking in. We'll be back in another 2 weeks for the 4th update. Again, this is week 6, Healing Naturally, Achilles Tendon Rupture with Coach Q of the Ruckus Room. Peace.